This is my first video update for the day, coming to you from Athens, Greece. The big story that we have to get to is the murder, the assassination of Darya Dugina, the daughter of Alexander Dugin. Alexander Dugin is a philosopher, an author, a Eurasianist, a geopolitical analyst, and on Saturday night, on the evening of Saturday night, he was giving a speech at an event for traditional families and stuff like that outside of Moscow, 20 kilometers outside of Moscow. And his daughter, Darya, who's 30 years old, she's a journalist and commentator. She was attending the event of her father. And when they were leaving the event, from what I understand, Alexander Dugin was going to be getting into the car that Darya eventually got into. Alexander Dugin ended up going into another car. Darya Dugin ended up in the targeted vehicle, and that vehicle exploded. And she was killed. This has been confirmed now by a criminal investigation. And this is huge news. This is huge stuff. We don't know who's behind this, what forces are behind this. An investigation has to play out. But there are many analysts saying that this was indeed targeted at Alexander Dugin, who has been a vocal critic of the NATO project in Ukraine. He has been a very vocal critic, as has Darya as well. Alexander Dugin was on the Ukraine, the SBU Ukraine hit list, known as the I always mess up the name, the Miro Doverts, I believe it's what it's called. Let me know in the comments down below. I always mess up that name. But this is a hit list, a kind of kill list that the Ukraine authorities started putting up on the internet after the Maidan. And many journalists are on this hit list, many actors, entertainers, politicians, anybody that the SBU and the Ukraine government, anybody that they feel has been critical of Ukraine or has spoken out against the Ukraine project, well, they end up on this list, which is public. And many journalists who have been on this list have been assassinated, have been killed. I reported about this 2 weeks ago because Viktor Orban was put on this list as well, the Hungarian prime minister. So, these guys are not shy about putting people's name on there, like very prominent people. And Alexander Dugin was on this list. And this has never been condemned by the collective West. NATO has never condemned this. As a matter of fact, there's reports that NATO even quietly supports this list. Anyway, I don't know if this is the case, if this is why they targeted Dugin or who targeted Dugin. We have to wait for an investigation to play out. I'm not concluding anything. All I will say is that if this was indeed a terrorist act carried out by forces in Ukraine or forces connected to what's going on in Ukraine, then we've really entered what I believe will be a very, very volatile and dark place, because the resolve of the Russian people will be absolutely hardened after this event. I mean, this was an attack 20 kilometers from Moscow, and it took the life of a 30-year-old journalist. So this is a shocking event. and this is a huge deal. And if the investigation concludes that this was an act of terrorism and that there's some sort of connection to the conflict in Ukraine, I don't know what to expect. If that's the case, I would imagine a very heavy Russian response is the only thing I could imagine, but God only knows. God only knows. So let's wait for the investigation to play out. Let's see what they conclude, and we'll take it from there. But I imagine that all of Russia is shocked. I imagine that many people in Moscow are shocked. I'm shocked. I'm shocked by this. This was really a step too far, a big time step too far. But it happened. It happened, and here we are. So we'll wait for the investigation. We'll see how things play out, what the investigators conclude, and we'll take it from there. I've been talking about this in the last 4 or 5 videos. Unfortunately, I've been talking about this in the last 4 or 5 videos. I've said that a lot of these attacks, these sabotage attacks that we've seen in Crimea, in the air base in Novofedorovka, and all of these pinprick drone attacks, which will not change the trajectory of the war, not one bit, but are meant to they're meant to do a couple of things: to terrorize the locals, to present the narrative that Ukraine is somehow winning and striking on Russian territory, so give them more weapons and more money. They're meant to distract away from the war that they are losing and the territory that they are losing. All of these events, these sabotage events, and some would say these types of terrorist attacks that we've been seeing on Russian air bases and airfields and inside Crimea, I said in my last few videos that this is what's gonna happen. This is where we are, because as the Ukraine military crumbles, as the Zelensky regime crumbles, as the whole Ukraine project falls apart, they don't have anything left other than to resort to these types of sabotage tactics. But now you've had, if the investigation concludes that there was some involvement by Ukraine in this attack, this assassination of Darya Dugina, well, this has now been amped up to an incredible level. I mean, I'm really at a loss for words. This was very, very brazen, very reckless. And anyway, I'm rambling on. Let's wait for the investigation to take place. Let's see what they conclude, and let's move on. Let's do a couple of quick stories, and we'll wrap it up. The travel ban. Let's talk real quick about the travel ban. So 2 countries are now speaking up against the travel ban being proposed by Poland, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Czech Republic. Those 2 countries are Portugal and Cyprus. Portugal has come out and they have said that the sanctions placed on Russia were to try and stop the Russian war machine, not to sanction Russian travelers and Russian citizens. And the Cypriot government said that travel bans are counterproductive, and that the way to solve things is to have contact between the people. And Cyprus has a population of 50,000 Russians, most of whom live in the Limassol area. And these people, they want to travel to Russia. They want to see family, friends, relatives, and the Cypriot government said this is not the solution. Now, I believe that this travel ban is going to happen. I said last time 50-50 is going to happen. I'll say now 60% is going to happen. And while you have two EU countries who are openly now saying we don't support this travel ban, Cyprus is a small country. The EU, the globalists, all of these guys, they're going to have no problem putting pressure on Cyprus and forcing Cyprus to agree to the travel ban. It'll be easy. Cyprus is small and a very weak country with a lot of problems, and a lot of problems that the EU and the forces on top of the EU can easily exploit. And it's going to be easy to get Cyprus to back off and agree to a travel ban. Portugal, bigger country, stronger country. But once you take out Cyprus, Portugal is isolated. They're alone in their stance, and they won't be able to hold up. And so you're going to get the travel ban. That's what I believe is the most likely scenario. I give it 60%, maybe even 70%, that you're going to see an EU travel ban. Now, another reason why I think you're going to see an EU travel ban is because you have Wizz Air, the Hungarian airline, the low-cost airline from Hungary. They announced that they were going to be running flights from Abu Dhabi to Moscow in October. Wizz Air, so Budapest to Abu Dhabi to Moscow. And they got all kinds of pushback from social media, but I don't think it was social media that really caused what I'm going to tell you happened to happen. They got pushback, I believe, from the European Union and the globalists, kleptocrats, bureaucrats, warmongers. I believe they put a lot of pressure on Wizz Air, and Wizz Air has come out with a statement, and they said that they will now be stopping this planned initiative to have flights from Abu Dhabi to Moscow. So they're basically walking it back. They're rolling it back. They said they were going to have flights. Now they're saying we're not going to have flights. They said it was because of supply chain issues, but the media is saying it was because of social media pressure. I'm saying it was because of EU globalist pressure, and I will even take it so far as pressure on Orban and his government. And you know what Orban probably told Wizz Air, the executives at Wizz Air? Look, we don't need this, he probably said. Let's just cool it off on a flight from Abu Dhabi to Moscow. I'm already fighting the EU on multiple fronts. Let's leave this one for later. And so Wizz Air is now rolling back. They're walking back the planned flight from Abu Dhabi to Moscow. And that's another indication. And yeah, there's something happened on the sidewalk over there. So looks like pipes burst or something. Yeah, so to me, that's another indication that the EU, when they're starting to block flights planned to Moscow, being offered by European airlines, but not leaving from EU territory when they're going that far, when they're taking those measures, to me, it signals that they're going to move forward on a travel ban. They want Russia out. Europe has decided, the EU leaders, these crazy nutcases in the European Union are so filled with hate that they've decided they don't want to see any Russians anywhere in Europe. Of course, I believe European citizens, or at least I can tell you the people of Greece, absolutely don't agree with them. And the people of Cyprus, I'm positive, don't agree with them. But we're not living in a democracy, are we? So that's the story with regards to the travel ban. Should I do a clown world? Let's do a quick clown world. Lighten things up a bit on what is a very, very dark day. I am very worried about what has happened. We have really crossed the Rubicon here if the investigation turns out to show what I believe it will show. The turbine, the Siemens turbine. So Siemens, let me get the phone real quick here because I want to read the quote from Siemens. So Siemens sent out a tweet and they said, this was last week, they said, our famous turbine is still not where it should be. It stands alone on our site in Mulheim an der Ruhr. Let's do the poor thing a favor and create a Spotify playlist. And then Siemens recommended the Police song So Lonely to begin the playlist. Other people recommended Depeche Mode, Enjoy the Silence. They also recommended, what other songs? Never Ending Story, and I Want to Break Free by Queen. I'm trying to think what other songs did they recommend. Should I Stay or Should I Go by The Clash. Anyway, there were a bunch of songs recommended for this Siemens turbine playlist on Spotify. Well, first of all, the first thing I want to say before I get to what happened the other day is that this is so embarrassing for Siemens and for the German government. Siemens is actually trolling itself. It's making fun of itself because at the end of the day, Siemens should be working night and day to try and figure out a way to get this turbine to Russia. And instead of working night and day to get this turbine to Russia and to somehow prevent an energy collapse and crisis in Germany, to at least get the gas flows to Germany back up to some sort of survivable level, Siemens is sending out tweets talking about creating a playlist for the lonely turbine. I mean, they're trolling themselves. They're making fun of themselves. This is so absolutely pathetic. It is so sad and pathetic to see a company like Siemens, this multi-billion-dollar multinational company, acting so sad and weak and pathetic. I mean, it really, really is. What are you doing tweeting stuff like our lonely turbine? I mean, you're making fun of the fact that you can't repair a turbine and get it back to Russia like you're contractually obligated to do. And now it's sitting in Germany and you're making fun of yourselves. I mean, you're trolling yourselves. You're making fun of the fact that people in Germany are going to freeze, that there's not going to be hot water in Germany, that there's not going to be heating, that businesses are going to close, and you're talking about creating a Spotify playlist. Anyway, this thing is so bizarre. If they're not doing this on purpose, then tell me why they're doing this. This is neoliberal. This is a neoliberal multinational corporation basically saying, yeah, we want to deindustrialize Germany because we've been told to deindustrialize Germany, so at least let's have fun doing it. That's what this is like. Anyway, Siemens has apologized for the tweet, not because they look pathetic and weak and they're making fun of themselves. That's not why they apologized. We've deleted our tweet about the turbine, which triggered a controversial discussion, Siemens said, making sure to emphasize that we condemned the war in Ukraine from day one and continue to do so. In other words, Siemens is apologizing because the troll farms on social media and the triggered people on social media, the triggered blue check marks, started to send out tweets demanding that Siemens halt any business with Russia and condemn Moscow and then donate all the money from their business to Ukraine. That's why Siemens has deleted the initial tweet, and that's why they're now issuing an apology. Not because they're a bunch of weak idiots. I mean, I don't have another word for it. Not because they're a bunch of neoliberal stooges. They're apologizing because other people on social media got upset with the fact that they tweeted about this turbine, and they were trying to get this turbine, and they were tweeting about this turbine that should go to Russia, and the people on social media demanded that Siemens stop all their business with Russia, and on top of it, they want all the money from Siemens to go to Ukraine. In other words, to go to the Zelensky regime, of course, because the Zelensky regime, they've got to make cash from all of this. How can you deny Zelensky from buying his 10th home in London? You know, he needs a 10th home, right? So Siemens has now got to send all their proceeds to Ukraine. Anyway, that's the clown world. I thought I would relay that story because it's absolutely ridiculous. 3 months. They have had 3 months to sort out this turbine issue. 3. Siemens, Germany, and Canada. All of these guys, they can't sort out a turbine problem. 3 months going into this. And you're telling me this is not deliberate? I have got a bridge to sell you if you think this is not deliberate. And they're making fun of themselves, and they're making fun of everybody else. And they look like idiots doing it. Anyway, that is the video, guys. I'm going to end it there. TheDuran.locals.com. Take care.